Let the judgment run down like the waters, and the righteousness flow as the streams. Let Yahweh's name be exalted in the high praises of my Elohim. Let the judgment run down like the waters, and the righteousness flow as the streams. Let Yahweh's name be exalted in the high praises of my Elohim. Yo, Yah come in the volume of the book. His word is life, so we got the killers shook. Wisdom was in the chief places from the beginning to enlighten the sons of men. But the fighting among twins ushered in sin, and brothers been beefing ever since. Yah come in the volume of the book by the truth and sell it not. So we got these robbers out here shook. Understanding is departing from evil. He flooded the earth once and there'll be no sequel, but the fire next time. That's why I'm the messenger refined in the fire of affliction, opening your eyes to the foolish ways and the devil's contradictions. Singing to Allah, to my Yah. Let the judgment run down like the waters, and the righteousness flow as the streams. Let Yahweh's name be exalted in the high praises of my Elohim. Let the judgment run down like the waters, and the righteousness flow as the streams. Let Yahweh's name be exalted in the high praises of my Elohim.
I praise Yah summer and winter season, and dismiss the statues was taught by these heathens. Y'all give me the reason to call them out, only misleading and treasons. A man's heart that was given to these beastlings, no one not even. Back to seeking the heart of Yah. 7 is what he requires for the draw silver to be polished by fire. Constantly led by my Elohim, who visits messengers through visions or a dream. Slaves that were formerly your king will one day rise and seek the purpose of their being. The feeling is serene. The Israel is a prince who has power with Elohim and man. And no longer do we advance to realize the reaches of the stars. Upon the shoulder bumper motion coming by Yah, who can take it thus far. Give him Yah'S not salat to the Almighty Yah.
Let the judgment run down like the waters, and the righteousness flow as the streams. Let Yahweh's name be exalted in the high praises of my Elohim. Let the judgment run down like the waters, and the righteousness flow as the streams. Let Yahweh's name be exalted in the high praises of my Elohim. Hallelujah. Singing to Allah, to my Yah, to my Yah.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise and honor to the Holy One of Israel, to the Creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is, my son, hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous, Yah is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. Once again, the Creator has allowed us to come before you another day, bringing to you his great, holy, and exalted words, even the words of truth. My name is Mowreh IshYAH, YIsraEL, of the house of Israel, located right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, 2330 Kemper Lane, bringing to you nothing but the truth. And yes, it is true. All we're going to do is tell you the truth, for Yah ordained me to tell you the truth. And this is what I'm going to do. And who is this Yah? Yah is the creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is. Yah is the Elohim of our fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and YIsraEL, whom you may know as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yah is our king. He is our judge. He is our lawgiver. And Yah is our only Savior, and not just of Israel. Yah is the Savior of the world. And I praise the mighty Yah for giving me the opportunity to bring to you his great, holy, and exalted words. Last time we was here, we did miss yesterday, but today, the night before, we were here dealing with the remnant. How peculiar, how special, how set apart one must be to be a part of the remnant. And when you are an elitist, meaning just elect, chosen one, oftentimes there's a certain spirit that lies deep within you that helps you to understand how hard you must work to be a part of something very special. And in this particular case, we're talking about the remnant. Many Israelites talk about the remnant. Most Israelites believe is only a remnant. But the question is, what are the Israelites doing to be a part of the remnant? How do you see your own life? Do you see your life doing everything that everybody else doing? Waking up every day, and your life is no different than the next person's life in terms of not what will happen to you, because everything that's happening happens to everybody. But how you conduct your life, how you behave in your life, how you set yourself apart from everybody else. Or you're not set apart at all. You're not even thinking about being a part of the remnant. All you want is your due today. You want your love today. You want your respect today. You want your praise today. You want whatever you think you got coming to you. You want it now and not later. Which means you're not going to willingly suffer. You're not going to willingly be patient. You're not going to willingly do the things that the remnant will do to become the remnant. And we went over scriptures where the only people Yahweh said he was going to save is the remnant. Or not necessarily just saved, because many will be saved. But the only ones that will find themselves in the promised land, Jerusalem, Mount Zion, Israel, is a certain, special, peculiar, chosen people that Yahweh himself will choose. And let me show you what Yahweh called these type of individuals that he will ultimately bring together, and he called them the remnant. In the book of Malachi, watch what it says. I want to turn there first. In the book of Malachi, that's okay. Just get these glasses cleaned off. In the book of Malachi, the 3rd chapter, I think we're going to find this. Watch what this says. The 16th verse. This is what it says, talking about the remnant part 2. Then they that feared Yahweh spoke often one to another. And when you fear Yahweh, there's just certain spirit, certain type of conduct, behavior you have. It's not hard, really, to see and understand who fear Yahweh. And Yahweh listened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh and that thought upon his name, because that alone will redirect your conduct and your behavior, the fear of Yahweh. And watch what he says, 17th verse. And they shall be mine, says Yahweh of hosts. In that day when I make up my jewels, I will spare them as a man spares his own son that serves him. This word jewel is the same word that oftentimes is used for chosen, elected, special, peculiar. Yahweh is not choosing any type of jewel. He wants the best, which means to be a part of this special group, you're going to have to give your best. And ask yourself, is that what you're doing? Then shall you return and return where? To Yahweh, and discern between the righteous and the wicked. Now you have the knowledge, true knowledge of who serves Yahweh, between him that serveth Elohim and him that serves him not. Now you're able to tell the righteous from the wicked, those who serve the Most High and who does, those who don't. And today, people don't even know if they themselves fear Yahweh. They think they fear the Most High, but then when you put them under a microscope, when you put a radar on them, when you show them their true face in the mirror, you will find that they have something that those who are part of the remnant just don't have. And as a matter of fact, it's not because they somehow they want it and Yahweh won't give it to them. No. Those who don't fear Yahweh, those who don't know the difference between him that serveth Elohim and him that serveth him not, they don't want to know, nor do they want to fear Yahweh. Because as soon as they get an opportunity, a chance, a moment to show Yahweh, I fear you and you only. I serve you and you only. That's when they fail. And it's not like Yahweh is not giving you the opportunity to succeed. I tell people every day, all this is just a test, but what do that mean to people? I tell them that, but they don't care. They go on about their business, doing what they do, irregardless of the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding that is conveyed to them. For example, see, Yahweh gave us examples that we can see so that we can understand the type of special deeds, how peculiar he desires us to be. Here it is. We're trying to please one another. We're trying to be for one another. We're competing against one another, and that's the last thing you should be doing. There's only one that you have an audience for. There's only one that even care, and that's Yahweh himself. But you not playing the role for him, you playing the role for yourself. Watch this in the book of Daniel. We're talking about the remnant, part 2. In the book of Daniel, I just want you to see something. Daniel, the 1st chapter. In the book of Daniel, the 1st chapter, I'm going to start reading at the 1st verse. I want you to see, because this is going to give you insight on some things for those who can see. Everybody can't see. Watch what it says. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Yehudah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, to Jerusalem and besieged it. And Yahweh gave Jehoiakim, king of Yehudah, into his hand. In other words, they all went into captivity, whether you was righteous or not, with part of the vessels of the house of Elohim, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his deity. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his deity. And the king spoke to Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes. So the first people that went out was not everybody. They didn't take everybody out of Jerusalem. They didn't take all the Yehudanites out. The first ones they would take are the very special, elite, king seed, seeds of the princes, and certain special Israelites. They were not special because they were born special. They were just peculiar and special because they were of the king seed. They was of the seed of the princes. But the ones that they wanted are the king's seed, because many of the king's seeds were straight out wicked. Many of the princes' seed was wicked. But watch this 4th verse, the ones that they wanted. And let me show you how Yahweh do things. The 4th verse is children in whom was no blemish. And what do it mean they didn't have a blemish? When we think about a blemish today, we think about acne. We're thinking about mosquito bites and scars on our face because we're scratching them. And we think about baldness and all kind of things. Broken tooth. Well, this is children in whom was no blemish. But not only they didn't have a blemish, it says, but well favored. In other words, everybody liked them. Do everybody like you? Why can't you be well favored like these men? Maybe because you're not even trying to be well favored. And we're going to see. Skillful in all wisdom. In other words, they were smart. They applied themselves. They didn't utilize their time in vain. These children, they actually were studying. Their time was spent getting wisdom, cunning and knowledge, understanding science, and such as had the ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. Excuse me. In other words, you can see in a lot of people their potential to be greater than what they are. You'll see how great somebody is, or how beautiful somebody is, or how wise somebody is, or how righteous some. But you can see that they have a potential to be greater. Here it is. They's in the king palace. They said, man, teach these people our language. And there's no doubt they can learn it, because look how smart. Look at their abilities. Is that being said about you? And watch what it says. 5th verse. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them for 3 years, that at the end thereof that they might stand before the king. So the king said, look, we want these guys nourished. We want these guys wholesome. We want them to be able to stand before me. And I don't want no weak, sick individuals. I want those who are smart, they're wise, they're healthy. This is what the king was looking for. So let's get them together for 3 years. Nourish them for 3 years. 6th verse. Now among these were the children of Yehuda, Daniel, Hananiah, which is Kananiah. That's how it's actually pronounced. Mishael and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave to Daniel the name of Belshazzar, Hananiah Shadrach, Mishael Meshach, and Azariah Abednego. But Daniel, now watch this. Now we're talking, now we're getting right to the heart of the remnant. Watch what happens. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he will not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of eunuchs that he might not defile himself. So Daniel knew something that other people didn't know, that other people didn't consider. Every day, our people waking up every day, going about their business, doing things, but are they waking up to consider things? And Daniel considered that, look, I am of the holy seed, but I was blessed with wisdom. And I don't care how long the king want to nourish us, his wine is not good enough for us. His meat is not prepared good enough for us, because we are a holy people unto Yahweh. Now, mass majority of our people, they not thinking like this, like we are holy people unto Yahweh. They drinking whatever they can drink. They drinking whatever is available. They're eating whatever meat Babylon has for them. That's what our people, the mass majority of our people are doing. But not Daniel. Not only he brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said to Daniel, I fear my master, the king, who had appointed your meat and drink. For why should he see your faces worse looking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall you make me endanger my head to the king. So it's already understood that when this diet was presented to the other Israelites, they accepted it. The only one that said, look, I can't eat this is Daniel. That's what Daniel said. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove your servants, test us. I beseech you 10 days, and only ones he can test are the ones that he was over. And let them give us vegetables to eat or post, and water to drink. Then let our countenances be looked upon before you, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat, and as you see, deal with your servant. In other words, let them eat that, but let us eat what we want to eat, and all we asking for, you're supposed to do this for 3 years, just give us 10 days. So he considered to them in this matter, and they proved them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children, which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat, the wine that they should drink, and gave them vegetables, gave them posts. And as for these four, because that's who Melzar was over, these four. Elohim gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. And why did Yahweh choose them for? To give them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. Why? What was it that they did? What was it that they were doing to set themselves apart? And as we can see, it was just their diet. It was as simple as, I'm not going to defile myself. So they made a dietary change in Babylon. Sure, they was able to eat meat. That wasn't against the law. Sure, they was able to drink wine. That was not against the law. But they didn't want to defile themselves because they undoubtedly believed or was unsure that whatever the king provided them, that it might defile them. So rather doing what many of our people do, even before they go into these defiled places, and 99.99 places that we go to are defiled, rather than going there and start questioning them, what do you cook this on? What type of grease is this? What ingredients is in this bottle? What ingredients are in this box? Do you fry this with seafood and crabs and shrimp? In other words, we go through this whole litany dialogue, when all we got to do is look at the menu, and the menu will already tell you what you want to know. And how do we know that? Because they do not keep the ways and the laws of the Most High. So why would they separate something for your benefit and for the praises of Yahweh? They don't serve, if they serve Yahweh, would not they just not have these things where you wouldn't have to question them? But yet, we still would defile ourselves. And Daniel just purposed in his heart, he was not going to do it. And what purpose have we committed to? What is our purpose? Have we purposed our heart to say, I'm just not going to do this. I'm just not going to do that. Have we purposed in our heart to even be special, peculiar, in any kind of way to the Most High? What makes us different than everybody else? Watch what it says. 19th verse or 18th verse. Now at the end of the days that the king had said he should bring them in, then the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar, and the king communed with them. And among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king. And in all manner of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians, astrologers that were in all his reign. 10 times better. And why? Because they were peculiar. They were special. They were Yahweh jewels. And they wanted to be. Why else would they make such a great sacrifice as they did? They literally wanted to be. So much. Show you something else that was great about these men. In the book of Daniel, the 6th chapter, I want you to see this. Very first verse. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princesses, which should be over the whole kingdom. And over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was the first, that the princes might give accounts to them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him. And the king thought to set him over the whole reign. In other words, his spirit was excellent. Again, another sign of how to become peculiar, how to become special, how to become set apart, how to become a part of the remnant. Here it is. He was, first we read where he made a dietary change, a sacrifice, a commitment, a purpose that he would not defile himself. Then we read here that his spirit was so excellent that even in Babylon, they wanted to put him over everybody. And of course, oftentimes when that happens, you're not going to be liked. 4th verse. Then the presidents and the princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find no occasion nor fault. For as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. No blemish. That's what it said about him. He had no blemishes. But watch this. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, unless we find it against him concerning the law of his Elohim. And why would they say that? Because at the end of the day, they seen that you can't serve two masters. Daniel is not going to be able to serve the king and the Most High. We just have to find where these things will clash with one another. And we know what Daniel is going to choose. He's going to serve his Elohim. He's not about to forsake him. And that's what we want. Because then the king will see that this man got fault also. And this is what they began to do. Now, Satan don't have no problem with most of our people because they already know our people so self-centered that you don't even have to find fault with them, with other people. Because our people are selfish. All they think about is they self anyway. They're not about to make sacrifices and do all that type of stuff. No. Our people think about they self and self first. This is how we've been raised in America. But Daniel, from the beginning, had purposed his heart. And this is what they wanted, how they will try to get him to err. 6th verse. These presidents, princes assembled together to the king and said thus to him, King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors, the princes, counselors, captains, have consulted together to establish a royal decree, statute. Make a firm decree that whoever shall ask a petition of any Elohim or man for 30 days, except of you, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. In other words, they didn't want nobody praying. They didn't want nobody petitioning the Most High. They didn't want anybody to even call upon their Elohim to say thank you. And of course, they signed the law, made it a decree. The king sealed it as they knew he would. And this is what happened. A verse. Now, O king, established the decree, sign the writing, that it be not changed, according to the law of Medes Persians, which alters not. Then the king Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem. He knelt upon the knees three times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his Elohim as he did before. In other words, it's letting you know another sign. Here, Daniel prayed 3 times a day. Now, just be totally frank and honest. How many times did you pray today? I'm saying kneel on your knees and pray, because anybody can just pray in their mind. Anybody can just sit there and talk to the Most High. But I'm saying a certified, bona fide, organized, turn to Jerusalem and pray. Did you do it once today? Did you do it twice today? Did you do it 3 times today? And when did you do it? Did you do it at the times that you could? Or did you do it at the times that Yahweh is pleased to receive your prayer? All this matters because everything has a purpose. And watch what it says. 12th verse. Or the 11th verse. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying, making supplication before his Elohim. And they came near and spoke before the king concerning the king's decree. Have you not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any Elohim or man within 30 days, except of you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, yes, the thing is true according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which alters not. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Yehuda, regards not you, O king, nor the decree that you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was greatly displeased with himself, set his heart on Daniel to deliver him, and he labored to the going down of the sun to deliver him. And of course, to make a long story short, not even the king who sealed this couldn't save Daniel. He couldn't even do it. And he was displeased with himself, which let you know the integrity of his own heart was good. In other words, he should have known. See, once you know people, and a lot of people don't even try to know people. The scripture says, try the spirit by the spirit. See, once you know people, you know, for the most part, their intentions. You know whether this person is trying to do something on purpose. You know whether this person is trying to get over. You know this person is trying to be slick and sly. Now, the wicked always think somebody trying to be slick and sly. But the righteous, they don't think that way. And the king knew that Daniel was not trying to disregard him. He knew Daniel was not trying to disregard the law. He knew Daniel was set up or put in a position where he had to choose, and this was merely his choice. So he was displeased with himself and knew that he made a mistake and not Daniel. But the wicked would think, Daniel this and Daniel that. See, he ain't perfect. Everybody's seeing, I thought he was so perfect. No, Daniel is just like any other man. But once you purpose your heart, and you got to purpose your heart, most people, a lot of people, they would make grave mistakes. One, they will say, well, I don't know what my purpose is. Well, I can understand why you don't know what your purpose is, because you never purposed to do anything. If you purpose yourself to do something great, special, peculiar, then you might realize your purpose. Daniel purposed his heart not to defile himself. You think he knew that they was going to tell him, look, you need to eat this and you need to drink this? Daniel didn't know, just like nobody else do. But Daniel purposed his heart to do something. And what purpose is in your heart to do something great, peculiar, special? Then you might realize your purpose. And then other people might see what their purpose is. And oftentimes, this purpose is not to bring glory to Yahweh. This purpose is typically to bring them something, money, fame, and other things. But we're talking about the remnant. We're not just talking about just anything. The remnant. Do you want to be a part of the remnant? Are you interested in doing something special, peculiar, that you might find yourself a part of the greatest, strongest, special group that Yahweh talk about? And it's not hard to realize these things. You just got to purpose yourself to do it. Here it is. You got a man in the book of Genesis. Turn there. Genesis, the 7th chapter. And this is what the scriptures say about this man. The very first verse. And Yahweh said unto Noah, come you and all your household into the ark, for you have I seen righteous before me in this generation. You don't think Yahweh is looking in all generations? And what do you think Yahweh is looking for? You think all the stuff you going through day to day, you don't think you're being judged by it? You don't think you're being proved and tested? You don't think you're being tried as gold and silver is tried in a furnace? Every action that you engage in, you're being tried. But because most people don't care that they're being tried, they're not even thinking about it in that manner. They just think somebody just trying to get over. Somebody trying to do this, and they going to stop them. But in truth, all it is just a test. Yahweh want to see how righteous you are in this generation. How do you stack up with everybody else? How do you stack up with his word? That's what Yahweh looking for. He can care less about anything else. And here this Noah, Yahweh said, I seen righteous in you in this generation. And this is how Yahweh described this righteousness. We got a bunch of people who talk about the remnant, but what are you doing? What do you have to show? that you will be a part of this great, special, peculiar, elected group of righteous, of Israelites. Yahweh call them jewels. In Genesis, the 6th chapter, 7th verse, and Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping thing, fowls of the air, for it repents me that I've made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. Now, ask yourself, have you found grace in the eyes of Yahweh? And let me tell you what grace is. Grace is when you find favor with the Most. The Almighty look at you and say, that's one of my favorites. That's one of my favorite people right there. And Noah found this in the eyes of Yahweh. And you're not going to find that in the eyes of Yahweh unless your behavior, your conduct meets a certain standard. Watch what it says. 9th verse. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generation. And Noah walked with Elohim. Now I can understand why he found favor in the eyes of Yahweh. He was just, he was perfect, and he walked with Elohim. No wonder Yahweh said he seen righteousness in this man. It don't have to say nothing else about this man. This tells the whole story. Sure, this man had faults. Sure, this man made mistakes. But what Yahweh seen, in other words, you emphasize all the outer of a man. Look, you did this and you said this and you did. That's how you see things. Yahweh don't see things like that. Yahweh look on the inner man. And when Yahweh look on the inner man, he sees something totally different than the various things you point out about another man. And Noah was seen to be righteous to Yahweh. And not just him. Let me show you another man that Yahweh talked about. And the way he talked about this man was so unbelievable to me. I had to see if he talked like this about anyone else in the scriptures. And there was only one person that came close to the way Yahweh talked about this man. Only one other person came close to Yahweh talking about him in that manner. And I can understand why. Well, watch this in the book of Isaiah 41. In the book of Isaiah 41, and what are we talking about? We're talking about the remnant. Here, Noah, I can understand why he was the only man, him and his family, left during his generation. Because what Yahweh undoubtedly seen in him was so great that Yahweh said, this is my jewel who I will populate the whole earth with. This is a man that I want to start generations with. And what do Yahweh want to start with you? What would he have you to do? And what have you purposed your heart to do like Daniel? In the book of Isaiah 41, and watch what this says. And I'm going to start, well, we'll start at the first verse so you can understand this whole thing. Keep silence before me, O islands, and let the people renew their strength. Let them come near, then let them speak. Let us come near together to judgment. Everybody going to be judged. And the Almighty said, every word shall be brought into judgment, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So nothing you doing is escaping the all-seeing eyes of Yahweh. It is, rest assured, it is being recorded. Who raised up the righteous man from the east? Yahweh. Called him to his feet? Yahweh. Gave the nations before him? Yahweh. And made him rule over kings. He gave them as the dust to the sword, as driven stubble to his bow. He pursued them and passed safely, even by the way that he had not gone with his feet. Who has worked and done it, calling the generations from the beginning? I, Yahweh, the first, and with the last, I am he. The isles saw it and feared. The ends of the earth were afraid and drew near and came. They helped everyone his neighbor. Everyone said to his brother, be of good courage. In other words, that's what you should be to your brother. You should be a bottle of encouragement. But no, we're just the opposite to one another. Watch what it says. So the carpenter encouraged the goldsmith, and he that smoothed with the hammer him that smote the anvil. In other words, they all worked together. They all were unison. They all encouraged one another. The anvils saying, it is ready for the soldering, fastened with the nails, that it should not be moved. And look, all them working together, they did that in wickedness. And why come we can get together when something is doing bad, but for some strange reason to do good, it's hard to get people all together. But to do bad, it's just so difficult. Watch what this says, because this is the part I wanted you to see. Since we're talking about the remnant, the 8th verse. But you, Israel, are my servant. You can't be like everybody else. Jacob, whom I have chosen. You're supposed to be chosen for a peculiar, special, elected purpose. You don't act like it, but that's how it's supposed to be. But you, Israel, are my servant. Jacob, whom I've chosen. Watch what it says. The seed of Abraham, my friend. My friend. Do you know, have you read where Yahweh called anybody else in the scriptures his friend? I just needed to know, what is a friend then? Since Yahweh called him his friend, I wanted to know. This got to be something special and peculiar. And then when I looked up this word friend, you know what it said? It just simply came from the Hebrew word ahab, which means love or beloved, beloved. The seed of Abraham, my beloved. In other words, Yahweh loved this man. And this man loved him. And he demonstrated his love. Therefore, of course he will be a part of the remnant, because this man worked to be a part of the remnant. This man did special and peculiar things that he might even be a jewel of Yahweh. He purposed his heart. But what have you purposed your heart to do? What peculiar thing sets you apart? And let me tell you, you might say, well, I'm going to set myself apart like Daniel. You will be set apart, I can assure you. Or I'm going to set myself apart like Abraham or like this person. And I can assure you will be set apart, because these men were set apart. Why do you think we're reading about them today? Because Yahweh said it's only going to be a remnant, but these things have to be on your inner part and not the outer. These things have to be demonstrated every day, every hour of the day. Not just when you feel like showing it. You can't trick the Most High. You can trick man, but you can't trick Yahweh. And this was a man that Yahweh said is my friend, my beloved. You'll find this in the book of 2 Chronicles, the 20th chapter also. Let us turn there, because we're talking about the remnant, and it's necessary that we talk about the remnant, since Yahweh said it's only going to be a remnant. And I just want you to see what the remnant actually look like. 2 Chronicles, 20th chapter, and watch what it says. 6 and 7 verse. And said, O Yahweh, Elohim of our fathers, are not you Elohim in heaven? And rule not you over all the kingdoms of the heathen? Sure, Yahweh do. We get caught up with the heathens, and Yahweh rule over them anyway. Yahweh rule over the earth. So who are we trying to impress? And is your hand, is there not power and might so that none is able to withstand you? Who is able to withstand Yahweh? No one. So why would you spend your time trying to impress other people? Trying to get noticed by other people? Trying to get other people to hear you and to see you and to recognize you and to thank you and to praise you? For what? The only one that you should be appealing to is your Maker. He's the only one that can save you. Watch what it says. 7th verse. Are not you our Elohim, who did drive out the inhabitants of this land before your people Israel, and gave it to the seed of Abraham, your friend, forever? Called him his friend twice. 2 different places. Which let you know this was established by the Most High. This man was indeed Yahweh's beloved, his friend. He was peculiar. He was special. He was set apart. He was a jewel. Which let you know it's not even a question whether he is part of Yahweh's remnant. Watch what Yahweh said about him in Genesis, the 18th chapter. In the book of Genesis 18, 17th verse, and Yahweh said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. My goodness. And why? For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of Yahweh, to do justice and judgment, that Yahweh may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him. In other words, this man had the ability to command his household, and they will serve Yahweh. Do men have this ability today? Do Yahweh know that we will command our households and our children, and they shall keep the way of Yahweh? And let's be honest, brothers. You can command, but are your households keeping the way of Yahweh? This is something that is peculiar, special, set apart. That one is able to do that, and then their household will keep the way of Yahweh. Well, Abraham did. No wonder he was considered a friend, beloved of Yahweh. And I told you there was only one other person in the scriptures that Yahweh came close to even talking about him in this manner. And you'll find this written about this great man. I think it's going to be in the book of Exodus. Let us turn there. In the book of Exodus 33. And watch what this is. The 8th verse. And it came to pass, Exodus 33 and 8. And it came to pass when Moshe went out to the tabernacle, that all the people rose up and stood every man at his tent door and looked after Moshe until he had gone into the tabernacle. And it came to pass as Moshe entered into the tabernacle, that the cloudy pillar descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle, and Yahweh talked with Moses. And all the people saw the cloudy pillar stand at the tabernacle door. And all the people rose up and worshiped, every man in his tent door. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. And why did Yahweh speak to this man as a man speak to his friend? Because Moses was one of Yahweh's beloved. He was one of Yahweh's friends. But why? What made him so peculiar? What made him so special? What made him set apart and different than everybody else? Well, let me show you. In the book of Numbers, the 12th chapter. Because we're talking about the remnant. Do you want to be a part of the remnant? Do you want your children to be a part of the remnant? But what are you doing to be a part of the remnant? Do your behavior, your conduct, your actions, just look at your life and see and tell us. You might be special to your mother. You might be special to your father. You might even be special to other people. But are you special to Yahweh? What have you purposed your heart to do, and you did it? And you became a light to other people. Watch what it says. Numbers, the 12th chapter, starting at the 1st verse. And Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moshe because of the Ethiopian woman, whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. What's so big about that? In other words, if somebody wants to complain about something, it's so many things you can complain about. It's just so many. And they said, has Yahweh indeed spoken only by Moshe? Has he not spoken also by us? And Yahweh heard it. And surely I get this all the time. People tell me all day long, other people, Yahweh deal with them and Yahweh tell them things different than what he shared with me. Okay, that's fine. You let Yahweh be the judge. Now the man Moshe was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. Now we're getting right into the remnant. Now we're getting right into how this man was special, peculiar, chosen. In other words, This man was very meek. He wasn't just meek. He was very meek. And what do the word meek means? It means he was very humble. Very humble. How about one trying to be that way? And let's see what that would get you. Would that get you a code, a door key, an ID to get into the remnant, being very meek? And I'm here to tell you, yes, it will. Watch what it says. And Yahweh spoke suddenly to Moshe and to Aaron and to Miriam. Come out, you three, to the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. And Yahweh came down in the pillar of the cloud, stood in the door of the tabernacle, called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, now, mind you, they all three were prophets, all three of them. No different than all of us just being man and woman. All of us came from the dust of the earth. But for some strange reason, we think, since we all came from the dust of the earth, since we all breathe, use the bathroom the same way, all eat the same things, we under the impression that we all the same. But Yahweh saying, no, 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 no. We're not. Watch what it says. 6th verse. And he said, hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision and will speak to him in a dream. My servant Moshe is not so, who is faithful in all my house. Not only he's one of the meekest in Yahweh's house, he's one of the most faithful in Yahweh's house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, not in dark speeches, and the likeness of Yahweh shall he behold. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moshe? In other words, he's peculiar, he's special, he's set apart, he was a man that purposed his heart, he was righteous, he was just, he found favor in the eyes of Yahweh, he walked with Elohim. But he was treated just like any other man. He was talked to just like any other man. And only certain people would deal with him differently. Because only certain people can see the things they're supposed to see. Hear the things they're supposed to hear. Do the things they're supposed to do to be in a special, elect, chosen group called the Remnant. Here's a man that Yahweh talked to face. Even though all the prophets were special, but Yahweh would set him apart even amongst the prophets. Watch what Creator said about him in Deuteronomy 34. Still talking about the remnant. Let's see if any of you will become inspired to be different, to be set apart, elected, chosen. Let's see if you have something within you that you can purpose yourself to do in righteousness, that Yahweh will be pleased with. In the book of Deuteronomy 34, seventh verse. And Moshe was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. And the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moshe was ended. And Yehoshua, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moshe had laid his hands upon him. And the children of Israel listened to him and did as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And watch what it says. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moshe, whom Yahweh knew face to face. In other words, this man was my friend. This man was my beloved. Because the only one you talk face to face in the manner that I talk to this man, as a man speaketh unto his friend, so did I speak to Moshe. Now do you understand how peculiar, how special you must become? But I believe you already knew. You just didn't want to be special. You want confusion and chaos in your life. You want to start trouble, to end trouble. You want to be in all the mix, all the parties. See, people, they got this ID, and the ID let them in all the clubs. They got the ID that will let them in all the things that you really don't want to be in, that you don't need to be in. Let me say that. But the true special ID for the club that people ain't trying to be in, you don't have that ID. Because that ID comes from Yahweh and Yahweh alone. And let me show you one more individual. And watch what it says about this individual in the book of 1 Kings, the 15th chapter. In the book of 1 Kings, the 15th chapter, starting at the very first verse. Down in the 18th year of King Jehoram, the son of Nebat, reigned ObediYAH over Yehudah. 3 years reigned he in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Ma'akah, the daughter of Abishalom. And he walked in the sins of his father, which he had done before him. And his heart was not perfect with Yahweh his Elohim, as the heart of David his father. The Almighty said he judged the heart. Nevertheless, for David's sake, in other words, only because of David, did Yahweh his Elohim give him a lamp in Jerusalem to set up his son after him and to establish Jerusalem. And what was so special about David that Yahweh would do such a thing? Well, Yahweh tells you in the 5th verse. Because David did that which was right in the eyes of Yahweh, and turn not aside from anything that he commanded him all the days of his life, except only in the matter of Uriah the Hittite. Take that matter out the way, because David was wrong. David sinned. David fell short. But take that away for a second. David did what was right in the eyes of Yahweh. Turned not aside from anything that Yahweh commanded him all the days of his life. This man was a light, a lamp in of itself. Yahweh said this man's heart was perfect. Watch how they sing David in the book of 2 Samuel, the 21st chapter. Let me show you how the people sing David. Funny how now that Mowreh Elisha is gone, all of a sudden, everybody see his light, his lamp. Everybody seem to talk about how great he is. Now that he's gone, they want to play his tapes. They want to put him on YouTube. They want to hear his voice. They want to talk about him. They want to say they came up under him like they was his long lost friend and they were just tied to the hip together. Of course, I lived during his day. And he taught me. And I can assure you, he was not greatly beloved by the people. But he was greatly beloved by Yahweh. Why you think he was so effective in the word of Yah? Because he was greatly beloved. And so was this man, David. And watch what it says about him. In 2 Samuel 21. And we're going to start reading at the 15th verse. Moreover, the Philistines had yet war again with Israel. And David went down, and his servants went with him, and fought against the Philistines, and David grew faint. And I can assure you, this is something that never happened to David. He don't grow faint. He's never weary or tired fighting the wars of Yahweh. But on this occasion, he became faint. And Ishbi-Benah, which was of the sons of the giant, the weight of whose spear weighed 300 shekels of brass in weight, he being girded with a new sword, thought to have slain David. But Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, helped him and smote the Philistine and killed him. Then the men of David swore to him, saying, "You shall go no more out with us to battle, that you quench not the light of Israel." The only reason why anyone would get the best of David is because David became old at this time. He was an old man. And he became faint. But his men, who were great men, they said, look, you're greater than a warrior. You're greater than a commander and a leader. You're a light of Israel. If you go, so does the light, the lamp that controls all of us. Therefore, we can't even let you go out because you are the reason why Yahweh is with us. You're the reason why we are so blessed, because your heart is perfect with Yahweh, and you fight the battles of Yahweh. So therefore, we can't let you go out no more, because you are our light. And all you got to do is ask yourself, who, other than your own children, other than your own friends who will say anything about you, who are you a light to? As David was a light, are you a light to others? These are the things that you're going to have to search out. These are the things you're going to have to know. These are the things you need to know if you desire to be a part of the remnant. So until tomorrow, Yahweh love you, and so do I. Shalom.
He is my refuge and my fortress, protects me from the wicked's deadly ordinance. Snakes master psychology, phony people studying fakeology. Y'all see I'm a god, it's not ego. Psalms 82 verse 6, even JC know who be me. Lion face crew be deep, soldiers for y'all. Screw these streets in front like the heat goat. That's how I leap, waiting on the master. In the meantime, studying for my masters, building houses, growing college, sharpen my sword, and I'm cutting up scholars, raising my sons, searching for the wife. Yeah, I pray he find a virtuous one, stand for justice, relieve the oppressed. Call on Yah, deliver the fatherless, let Israel be blessed.
Keeping my eyes on Yah, I won't let up. I'm strong and bold, I won't give up. When I fall, he came and saved me. The righteous fall, don't let up. 'Cause every time we gon' get up. When I call, he came and saved me.
Yo, when the poor oppress the poor, it's like the sweeping rain, leaving no food, just pain. But Yah's name I exclaim, feed my brethren wisdom. Yah willing, he will do the same. Shame and calamity on my family, trapped in captivity. Many years ago, holding the calico, never know how my light glowed till I stepped through them 2 doors. Left church, cause that was just fool's gold. My eyes the color of onyx, Yah's message came to me as clear as you telephonically alerting me. He opened opened his scrolls and fed his word to me. Now I must give to those hope lost whose spirit is froze, the knowledge of how they conquer their foes.